I'm Daniel Narodsky, and today I'm taking a look at a new product. I'm talking with Dan Marchetto, Vice President of Sales for CyberData, and we're talking about the merger of two different technologies, neither of which is a new technology. They've both been around for quite some time, but by bringing the two together, we're talking about a new product that answers the question of how do you get these two technologies brought together for the best installation, the best cost of installation, and have the best features available at installation.
I'm Dan Marchetto. I'm Vice President of Sales, Marketing, and Tech Support for CyberData.
And I'm Daniel Narodsky. I'm Chief Technology Officer for Teledynamics. So Dan, I know CyberData just launched a brand new product, and we're excited to see it hit the market. And I wanted to talk to you about what that product is and what it means to the industry.
Sure. Thanks for having me. CyberData looked at the market and some of the issues that the market has and how we can help improve notification systems for small, medium businesses and some of the smaller of the enterprise systems. So what we did is we looked at the market. We're looking at where does a good product, a new product fall? And in the market, we looked at there are 64,000 supermarkets. There's 131,000 K through 12 public schools, about 13,000 plus school districts. There are 591,000 manufacturing businesses. So all told, if you add it all up, you're looking at about 33 million businesses from 1 to 500 employees. And we looked at that market and said, okay, are we fully achieving with our products approaching that market? And the answer was no. So what we did is we decided that we needed to go a little further, and we said, okay, what are the market drivers and the constraints in these markets? Well, there's a lot of low-priced SIP multicast speakers that are coming in from China. Some of them are of lower quality. Maybe many of them are of lower quality. There's costs associated with installations, Cat5 cabling, drops, switches, etc. They all add up. Unique customers have unique constraints and requirements and want more offerings as opposed to standard SIP and multicast. And there's labor costs involved with time and materials. So we came up with a solution that we call our SIP hybrid paging technology, or just hybrid paging technology, where we're combining the best of SIP and multicast and with constant voltage amplification, speaker systems.
So analog.
Constant voltage analog technology. And the technologies on both of these, our SIP paging server has been around for some time. It's been upgraded recently with some brand new software, and constant voltage has been around for quite a while.
It definitely has. And that's the unique piece that I wanted to talk to you about today. Constant voltage analog, as we know, it has been around for a long time. And as a manufacturer of SIP endpoints, to see CyberData see that need, that it's not embedded in SIP technology, that's the unique piece. That's the play.
Yeah, it really is. Both of those products exist in the market today, but nobody has what the SIP paging server can deliver and the constant voltage amplifier that we produced all in the same box. And that gives you, if you use the amplification of the this amplifier, which is 392 watts, you use about 80% of that, so brings it down to about 313 watts. That's your usable power. And if you're not familiar with constant voltage systems allow you to serpentine speakers as opposed to home run cables from SIP and multicast back to a switch. You serpentine speakers in parallel, 2 wires to the speaker, another 2 wires to the next speaker, and so on and so forth. And the speakers are 8-ohm speakers, but they have transformers on them. So think of it this way. If you're running down the highway and you see those huge high tension lines, they're carrying about 380, 400,000 volts, give or take. The reason for that is there's line loss. You lose
Mhm.
voltage with the resistance in the line. But at 380,000 volts, who cares? By the time they get to where you need to be, you step them down. And in the case of bringing it into your home, they're stepped down to about 230 volts. Split them up. You got two legs of 115 each coming into your house. Same concept on constant voltage speakers. We run them at either 25 volts or 70 volts. 25 tends to be more education, 70 is everything else. And you run them out, and from speaker to speaker to speaker, they get stepped down to speaker level because there's a transformer on each speaker. You don't need to run power to these speakers, it's carried on the speaker wire. So it gives you a lot of options. And how do you adjust them? There's what's called taps on the speaker. Typically 4 or 5 different settings from 1 to maybe 30 watts. You add those up, and as long as you come in at 313 or less, so be it, you're in good shape. So in the case of speakers that are 1-watt taps, possibly for libraries or health clinics and that, where you don't need a lot of volume, you can run over 300 speakers off of this one amplifier. So it gives you a lot of leverage. Now that's one zone, but the SIP paging amplifier gives you unlimited endpoints, another 100 zones to choose from, 250 scheduled events. So something going off in the school for recess every day at say 10 o'clock, that's one scheduled event. And you have upwards of 100 different types of notifications, bells, ringers, recorded messages that are built into this. So you have a complete package. And I was just on a call with an organization that could save quite a bit of money in doing this because, case in point, I did a design service. These are free items that we do. We do floor plan designs, and we put in
Right.
speakers and amplifiers and that makes sense for the application. Well, it came out to be about $118,000 using SIP and multicast. But using this new SIP paging 2570 volt amplifier, it comes out to approximately $60,000, $58,000 savings for covering the same area. Now, having said that, it's not about just trying to reduce prices, but with all of this pricing pressure that we're getting from offshore speakers coming into the SIP multicast world, you'll be able to reduce the overall cost for the end user, but you, the reseller, will be able to maintain your margins. And that's what this is all about. It's not what you make, it's what you keep, right? That's
Yeah.
where, if you can maintain your margins, you can do a better job for your client without all the competition. And so now you have an option of doing either SIP and multicast and or constant voltage in a combination, and satisfy the customer with a lower overall cost, lower labor cost. You'll be able to do your jobs faster. You'll be able to engage more customers. So no one customer has as big an impact on your business as if you have a stable of customers. So that's the thinking behind all of this. So where is it useful? Schools, where there's anywhere there's a lot of common areas. Schools, all the halls, gymnasiums, exterior. Same with retail spaces. You might have offices in the back that need SIP or multicast individual zoning, but in the retail space, it's all common area. So serpentine back and forth, cover. Maybe they need some horns in one area. They may need ceiling speakers or wall speakers in another area. All of these are interchangeable. Having said that, question keeps coming up, well, are these proprietary speakers? No, we'd certainly like you to use ours because at the end of the day, if there is an issue, it's all one company behind it. So it's single source. But if they have an installation where they have constant voltage speakers, either 25 or 70 volt, and their amplifier has failed, you can use those speakers with our amplifier. Vice versa, if there is a scenario where speakers have started to fail and the reseller is comfortable with CyberData products and is well versed at CyberData product, our speakers will be able to be used in that environment on somebody else's constant voltage amplifier. So it's really a nice excellent way to package, and we've had great reviews from our announcements, working with organizations who have helped us design this product. They've been very, very pleased with it and are already engaging with their customers. And I am with this one reseller, this design service I did. We're going back to that customer with basically half the cost to them. So we think they'll be very, very pleased with that.
Yeah, and that's impressive. It's not just marrying up the SIP technology with the constant voltage. You also have an analog speaker that, as I've looked into it, that you mentioned it earlier, the two taps, the 25 volt, the 70 volt. So on your speaker itself, you can choose in one speaker to have that either as more of the more powerful or a little bit lighter of a load, just in one product.
Right. I mean, schools often, or if you go into pool areas, exterior speakers, they like to run 25 volt because there is less chance of issues if somebody were to grab those lines. So it's just often in code in waterborne areas, they're 25 volt. And on each speaker, you might have 5 taps, 1 watt, 3 watt, 5 watt, 15 watt, 30 watt, depends on our speaker. But we have and you set them according to the level you need. And so the amplifier gives you a host of options in terms of you can protect any of the settings, but you can look at what the settings are through our LCD panel. So you have a number of options for which to work with this product. And frankly, it's become a real Swiss Army knife of products for us. We've never had a product like this before. We think it's extremely exciting. Our customers that we've spoken with think it's extremely exciting. And so we're really headed, the value proposition is this. We're streamlining the communications. We've created a cost-effective solution. We've enhanced the efficiency of the installation and the installers. It's a sole source for procurement and support. And all told, what that means is for our resellers, for your resellers, it's expanded market opportunities. I was just on a call with a large manufacturer, one I know very well, and they're shifting their design to incorporate this. So right out of the gate, people see the benefits.
So you mentioned install. When we look at a typical install that prior to this device being launched, you would have typically seen, let's run through what you would have typically seen in a closet in the back server room. You would have typically seen an amplifier. You probably would have had some sort of a gateway that's bringing that in and tying that into their either SIP PBX or hosted PBX. You could have seen a line-in device that's bringing in some sort of audio into those devices, right? Now we've eliminated all of these different components, and we have one box now that has the SIP paging amplifier. So it's got the SIP integration built into that analog amplifier. You have your line-in taps, you have your external analog audio, and you can still multicast.
It really becomes, as we said, the Swiss Army knife of installations. So you're saving on cost of Cat5, Cat6 cable and installation. You're saving on switches because they all have to run back to a switch in standard SIP and multicast. And it's important to have all these zones in certain areas. But when you're working in manufacturing areas, retail areas, it is one zone. So we can reduce the overall cost of the installation without cutting back in any other area that the client needs. It's just a savings. And it's a good margin product.
And so let's look at it in a use scenario as well. You've kind of gone in the areas, the verticals that could be installed in, whether it be educational, manufacturing, etc. But one of the things that we see being a huge play here by having one manufacturer behind one product, yes, there's initial cost savings, but let's talk about some of the technology behind this product, because what you're bringing is what CyberData has had is all the SIP endpoint years of technology that you've had, and constant voltage has been around for a while. So to marry the two together, here's what you're seeing. You have one zone analog paging to reach all those constant voltage speakers that are out there, or if they're not out there, they can be installed at a cost savings. But you also have the multicast, and that's what I want to talk on for just a moment, because you can either take that and branch that out into the phones themselves, the SIP phones like Yealink or Grandstream, any of those phones, Snome, that are taking multicast paging. But CyberData also has integrated with the poly paging as well. So for all those poly, or what we've known for years, Polycom phones, now we're kind of calling it HP, but you've got that integrated as well. So you can really take any kind of that SIP endpoint that's out there and make those pages right down to those endpoints as well, all in one unit.
That's exactly right. Thank you. So many folks say, hey, I don't want speakers in my room, but I have a phone in my room and it's multicast capable. Can we talk to it? And the answer is yes. We can bring our audio to those phones and come out of those speakers. So it enhances even further the installation. Also keep in mind that unless it's a two-way speaker, which is basically a phone without a handset, it's the unit, the CyberData product is what registers with the platform, and everything else registers to the CyberData unit. So you have one phone license, if you will, one seat license, which is a huge cost savings. So we're very excited, and it's not just about sound. You know, with ADA compliance or English as a new language, where they may hear fine, but they may not understand the English language, you have to protect everybody in emergency notification situations. So strobes, secure access, all of that is important. And all of those products are products that we produce, manufactured in California, in Monterey. Our products are not only built in Monterey, California, which is it's great to know that they're local, but also they're TAA compliant, which in many cases is a deciding factor on whether or not, particularly for government, whether or not they can be purchased.
That's right. And to also know that CyberData has a full ecosystem of product that has been pushed around this security and TAA compliancy. So now we have the new product that's installed here with the constant voltage that can wrap in all the other things that you mentioned with security access, the LED strobes, things like that, that they're easily added to any installation and fits right in with this brand new product.
Mm-hmm. And we've even seen a scenario where people have said, I have InformaCast, single wire, but I'd like a backup plan. So in a scenario like that, our systems will support, both SIP, but in the terms of InformaCast, the SIP paging server becomes the redundant backup device. We can still use all of the CyberData products, but if InformaCast were ever to go down, you can then use the SIP paging server as the backup plan. And in this single box, you have that built in. So it gives you all the features. You still can use your InformaCast and their notification system. They're a great company. But if it were ever to fail, or for whatever reason, they can't receive that connection anymore, they can use a backup system using CyberData's SIP paging server that's built into this box.
Yeah, that's smart. And one other question that we think about too, we mentioned as an installation example, using speakers that are pulling 1 watt taps, you can max out around 300-ish speakers. Let's say you needed more than 300. How would you solve that solution with this product?
Sure. So in a scenario like that, you would then use 2 of these SIP paging 2570 amplifiers. And that would give you, 392, basically just under 800 watts. And the SIP paging server that's built in the case that we were speaking with this one client, they wanted a backup SIP paging server in case the system were to ever go down. Our products have been around a long time and they last a long time, but nothing is forever. And if in fact something fails, they have a backup plan. And so that's how you do it. And you can serpentine more, but typically at 800 watts, you've got you can do 600 speakers. Those are pretty big installations. You're talking Home Depots and the like.
Absolutely. But it is smart to be able to have that additional unit put on there to have the increased amount of watts to power more speakers as needed. And then, as you mentioned, you've got your built-in redundancy as well.
Mhm, mhm. So we're really happy. We have introduced it to a number of folks under NDA prior to the formal release, and they say and to quote, two of them, we've knocked it out of the park. And so we're really happy about this merger of technologies and allowing our resellers, your resellers, to be able to maintain their margins, to be able to help afford those schools that are on tight budgets because money is tight, and be able to provide what they're looking for, whether it be acoustical or visual. We're there for them.
No, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to see what CyberData is coming out with next.
And there are things that we're going to be coming out with next that we can't talk about yet, but stay tuned.
That's fair enough. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Daniel.